Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Salt Lake City Snowhawks expansion franchise here on Madden 25. We have a special one here today as there's Deshaun Montague, 6th overall pick of the Atlanta Falcons, as he was deemed to be the next Michael Vick, and how fitting he ends up here with the Atlanta Falcons. A 1-3 start to his NFL career, rocky rookie campaign, first 4 games, but as that is to be expected. And of course, our very own Lucas McDonald definitely struggled with his own growing pains of his own, although he is now playing here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, his own backyard essentially, as he played his college ball right down the road at Georgia Tech. As there's Deshaun Montague, 5 touchdowns to 5 interceptions to start the year, but also 5 rushing touchdowns, which does lead all quarterbacks entering week 5, and that is definitely his strong suit, using his legs as he enters with 97 speed, and that definitely matches that of Michael Vick, as we'll get our first ever look at him as we are now underway here from week 5. Our Salt Lake City Snowhawks, the last standing undefeated team here in year 5. The Atlanta Falcons 1-3, coming off back-to-back losses, looking to get back on the right track, as we're going to do a defense doubleheader in this episode, starting here against Deshaun Montague and the Falcons. We did want to get a first look at him there. You see the numbers: 830 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, but as I said, has also made an impact on the ground. Now starting here directly under center, Bijan Robinson, the lone back. On the drop back, Montague has a man open, and that is caught. Tracy Pryor, the leading receiver for the Falcons entering this week, the 4th-year man out of Syracuse, and he gets 5 that time. Bijan Robinson has really, developed into an afterthought on this offense, not as much of a focal point as you would expect him to be, and a good pass that time, breaking the arm tackle, and that's going to go for a good gain, first down Atlanta. Now up to the 42-yard line as they fake it, a give for Bijan up the middle, and he gets 6. Brought down that time by Caleb Patton, who leads all defensive tackles with 5.5 sacks entering this matchup. And now on 2nd and 4, they do give back for Bijan, and he gets that ahead for 4, going to bring up 3rd and inches. Montague now directly under center as the Falcons in Snowhawks territory. They give for Bijan, and he gets the first down. Now up to the Salt Lake City 46-yard line. Montague on the drop back on 2nd read there, and that's in the hands of Mitch Mazika, the 2nd-year tight end out of LSU, X-Factor already. And as I've mentioned in past episodes, a bunch of tight ends who have been drafted over the course of this franchise have come back as X-Factors. We're hoping to find one of our own in this upcoming draft, as Montague there has a man in the hands of Pryor again, but there's Terrion Arnold, who a good reaction that play, working back to the ball. And Arnold, after last week, was upgraded to X-Factor, and you'd love to see that just 4 weeks into his 4-year contract with the Snowhawks, up to a X-Factor there at corner. Again, there towards the sideline for Mazika, as Matthew Torrance will force him out of bounds. So that will bring up the 4th down now, outside of field goal range you would think. And they are going to bring on the punt team, as our Snowhawks defense does survive that opening threat from the Falcons. Let's see where this one goes out. There from the 42, as that one pinned all the way back to the 2-yard line. A flawless punt pretty much there, as the Snowhawks taking over deep in our own territory, and hopefully we can avoid the safety. McDonald enters this week as the 4th leading passer in the NFL at 1,119 yards, along with 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and has also added a couple rushing touchdowns as well. And there we do get some breathing room, 5 yards for Bigsby up to the 8-yard line, and then 7 yards for Vince Willis. We do get the first down, and now 4 yards back for Bigsby. 3 straight runs to start, and then our first pass goes 15 yards for Dontavion Wicks, already up to the 34, and then another 11 for him, and then we get 3 yards for Bigsby. 2nd and 7, incomplete. Now make it 3rd and 7, and we get 12 yards on the conversion there for Carlos Alvarez. He's been absolutely phenomenal, entering this week the 2nd leading receiver in the NFL. Then 11 for Mark Andrews down to the 23, make it a 5-yard scramble for McDonald. 6 yards for Bigsby, a throwaway. Now 2nd and 10 at the 12-yard line, and we get the 12-yard touchdown pass for Dontavion Wicks, a 98-yard drive to open the game. We march all the way down the field to score, and you love to see that run support already for our defense, which ranks number 1 entering this matchup in total defense and total points against. You just love to see that start for our Snowhawks, leading 7-0, and it's hard, for a rookie quarterback to try and scrap their way back, although Montague going to use his safety valve there, going to swing it out for Bijan. He gets 4. Michael Penix has now moved on to the division rival New Orleans Saints, as they are currently 2-2. And that one going to go for the lineman, as he was an eligible receiver on the play, but could not hang on to that one. An interesting play design there for the Falcons. And now make it 3rd and 6 at the 26, trying to avoid another punt. Next week, we are going to play the Seattle Seahawks, already 3-0 in NFC West play. Montague now going to use his legs for the first time, but not going to get what he needs, only 3 yards. Torrance and Taylor Goddard there former SEC opponent there, both first-round picks. Goddard, of course, out of Tennessee. Texas A&M there for Montague as he was tracked down there. Two of them familiar with each other as the Falcons now another punt. Of course, the last one was pinned all the way at the 2-yard line, but probably not going to be the case this time as that landed there from the 29-yard line. Going to be fair caught by Patton. The offense now takes over at the 26 and complete there on first down. We do get 10 yards, so 3rd and inches, and that's going to be a conversion there. 4 yards for Bigsby as we do start the second quarter now. 6 yards for Mark Andrews. 5-yard rush from Vince Willis does get the first down, and then -2 for Bigsby. And on 2nd and 12, we get 6 for Mark Andrews, now 3rd and 6. And we get a 44-yard touchdown pass for Carlos Alvarez. My goodness, he is just tearing it up. His 5th touchdown catch already on this Year 5 season. As many touchdowns as games played for him. And as I said, 2nd in receiving yards entering this week, but also 1st in catches as we're outgaining the Falcons 133-25 through the air right now, leading 14-0 already. Here's Montague from the pocket, surveying plenty of time, but going to finally step up and run, and just nailed by Taylor Goddard. Only a 1-yard gain that time, and takes a big hit. Atlanta does have a pretty good offensive line, upgraded left tackle in free agency as Blake Fisher comes over after starting 4 years with the Houston Texans, now here on 2nd and 9. Time to throw again as Montague off the mark and maybe a little bit rattled here, taking some big hits and now facing a 14-0 deficit. And now here on 3rd and 9, you probably need a conversion to keep the psyche afloat. Montague now rolling to the right, again going to try and use his legs, rushing for the first down marker, and will just barely get ahead using that leg strength and that leg drive to force himself ahead for the first down, despite being carried kind of by 2 Snowhawks defenders as he showcases that power with the speed. And now Montague on first down, again going to try and roll away, but will not escape Jonathan Grenard there, the seasoned veteran who he brought in on a 1-year deal. Gets home, I think, his 3rd and a half sack now on the season, and that'll drive him back now 2nd and 17, back to the 33-yard line, now in the empty set. It's like, where is Bijan, you know? And now rolling to the right and being tracked down by fellow rookie Randy Fisher, and definitely flustered is Deshaun Montague. That is Randy Fisher's first career NFL sack, the 2nd-round pick out of UCLA, and Deshaun Montague definitely a little bit rattled. And we'll get another look here as Fisher, a great combination of size and speed and strength, and that is on display there. Also Taylor Goddard in pursuit as 2 rookies there, chasing the rookie there for Atlanta. And now 3rd and a couple miles here, 3rd and 27 from the 24-yard line after those 2 sacks. There goes Drake London in motion. Haven't seen him today so far as Montague setting up a screen, and that's for Bijan Matthew Torrance there, and that limits that to just 1 yard. So now Atlanta going to punt from their own 24. Snowhawks now take over at the 36, flawless on offense so far, up 14-0 with 7:18 now left in the half. 10 yards there for Wicks, now into Atlanta territory already. Another 13 there for Alvarez. His 3rd catch, I think, had that 44-yard touchdown. Then we get 5 yards for Willis. Now 2nd and 5, incomplete, so make it 3rd and 5. And we do not get it incomplete, so a 47-yard field goal attempt here for Will Reichert, which is up and good, makes it a 3-possession lead as the Atlanta Falcons now will take over at the 30-yard line. 5:33 left in the half, and they are desperate to get something going. Only 58 total yards to this point. And now Montague directly under center here to start. Bijan the single back, and they will go for him here on the stretch. And that'll be tracked down by Jerry Sexton. Good angle, good pursuit, and good finish. Only a 2-yard gain. Now empty here on 2nd and 8. Less than 5 now in the half. Montague going to throw that towards the sideline, and that's knocked down by Jerry Sexton again in coverage. He's already been all over the field a little bit there against Darnell Mooney. Of course, the veteran receiver here still with Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, who I did mention is injured, which has thrusted Mitch Mazika into a starting role in this one. Montague now going to try and run again, and that's going to be a sack there from Kwity Paye, his expiring contract year, his 3rd after signing back in the year 2 offseason. And Montague just taking a punishment now in this one, and our defense has been dominant, so it's definitely, I think, good to face him earlier in his career here in Week 5 rather than facing him down the line like Week 15, where he's seen more reps, had more experience. As a fair catch there, our offense taking over at the 30. But speaking of the growing pains that go along with Montague, we've definitely experienced that with Lucas McDonald going back to his rookie and even his 2nd season, and we are going to punt here 3 and out as they did force a 3rd and 13. And now taking over at the 25 with 2:21 remaining. A 3-possession game, desperate for points. Nothing to show for their efforts so far. 2:21 here in the second quarter. Montague, another drop back. does have a man open over the middle, and that one goes for 6. That does also take us to the 2-minute warning. Now 2nd and 4 at the 32. Montague over the middle again has a man open. A good pitch and catch, that one for Mooney. And they're now playing with some tempo now up to the 39 underneath there over the middle. And that's another completion, that one for 7. Now up to the 46. Montague takes the snap. Again, over the middle has Mazika that time, and that one goes for 8. Falcons do take their first timeout, and still 1:22 remaining. They've been pretty good with their clock management so far. Montague again over the middle for Mazika, but that one a minimal gain as the clock does continue to run. Another quick, decisive throw that time. Montague finds a man, and he makes a little bit extra happen. Gets a first down. Now less than a minute here in the first half, as they still are saving 2 of their 3 timeouts. Montague, another quick one. That one just a slight misfire, incomplete. Now 2nd down. Trying to set up a screen as they do get it there for Bijan. Some room to run up the sideline as he's finally forced out after getting the first down to the 21. And now Montague here from the 21. Rolling to the right. Has some room to run now up the sideline as he slides down. The Atlanta Falcons burn their 2nd timeout as they're now up to the 13 here on 2nd and 2. Montague from the shotgun as he goes back over the middle of the field, and I think he was going for Mazika, but that hit Bijan, who almost was able to recollect that off the ricochet, but that does fall incomplete. So now a 3rd and short, and we would love to force a field goal attempt here. 3rd down here, Montague from the pocket. Time to throw, going to step up, and he'll be wrapped up again, as I did think he did get a little bit forward progress, but still Caleb Patton in on the stop. And they're not calling a timeout yet with like 8 seconds, and they finally do call a timeout, so they will bring on the field goal unit here. A chip shot here from 30 yards. 7 seconds left in the half. At least they'll get something going into halftime, although we will get the ball, though. That one up, and that one is good. So 17-3 here as the Snowhawks have controlled this first half of play, but finally the Falcons something on the scoreboard. And with that, we're now into the second half. Our offense does start with the ball as good starting field position off a good return as we got 11 yards there from Marvin Harrison Jr. already down to the Falcons' 37-yard line. Now here on 2nd and 7, we get 4 yards for Bigsby, brings up a 3rd and short, and we do not convert. It's going to be 4th and inches. We'll see what we do, and we do get the first down on a nice conversion there, very aggressive on the 4th and short. Now here on 2nd and 7 inside the red zone, we get an 18-yard touchdown pass for Mark Andrews, which now makes it 24-3, and we just come out of the gate clicking on all cylinders. So again, a big deficit here faced by the Falcons, now 21 points. Montague, his first pass attempt, and that one he hooks up with Pryor for 8. Now on 2nd and 2, directly under center. Drake London there in motion, fake it, give it to Bijan. Instead finds a nice lane as he works ahead that one time for 17. If the offense is going to produce, you definitely have to get Bijan going. Entering this Week 5 matchup, he was not even a top 20 in rushing yards. Off the play fake, Montague does have a man there up the sideline, and that one a good gain goes for 17. Again, that was Tracy Pryor, the leading receiver, entering this week for the Falcons. Now Montague out there empty, as again Drake London, the motion man. They do send a blitz there is Salt Lake City. Montague, and that one incomplete. Testing Terrion Arnold, who I did mention is now up to an X factor. His 5th game now with the Snowhawks. Had an interception last week, his first as a member of Salt Lake City. That time on the slant, Pryor able to hang on through the hard contact. Picks up 5 yards, now a 3rd and 5 here at the 23. You might have to think Falcons looking at 4-down territory maybe at this point. Down 3 possessions in Mazika. Jerry Sexton able to knock that out of his hands to bring up the 4th down decision here. You got to probably think they're going to bring out the field goal unit, which would still make it a 3-possession game, though, at an 18-point deficit. But here from the left hash from 40, Jake Elliott now here on the Falcons. That one up and good, and now make it 24-6 Salt Lake City. Snowhawks will start from the 30-yard line, trying to replicate what they did earlier. There's 12 yards for Mark Andrews. He had that touchdown last time out, and then 6 yards for Marvin Harrison Jr. A penalty there against Jesse Bates, now a 96 overall free safety, as he makes up one of the better tandems alongside Budda Baker, who is, of course, the first overall pick in the dispersal draft when we dismantled the Cardinals roster we used to replace our expansion team. So 13 yards there from Mark Andrews on 3rd and 12, just getting the conversion on first down. A penalty against our right guard, Randy Samuels. We get 4 yards on 1st and 15. And now a penalty against the defense makes it 2nd and 6. And we get 6 yards for Bigsby. First down now inside the red zone. A 10-yard catch there for Mark Andrews. 2nd and inches. And we got a 2-yard scramble there by McDonald. First and goal now at the 6-yard line. Prime real estate here. And we got a 6-yard touchdown rush by Lucas McDonald. Going to make it 31-6 now. And we are just absolutely pouring it on early on here in the fourth quarter. A 31-6 lead. And our offense has just exploded. And our defense is keeping up our stout play. We did pitch a shutout back in week 2 against Tampa Bay. And I don't think we've allowed more than like 14 points in a game so far this season, as Drake London to catch there over the middle, that one for 7. Jerry Sexton, our captain at middle linebacker, now his 3rd year out of Washington. Of course, an integral piece on this defense. And that one going for Bijan, he couldn't handle that one, a little bit miscommunication. Of course, a poor showing here for Montague, but he's got to get his feet under him still very early in his career. As that time going to the sideline, and that's our rookie Dakota Michaels out of Texas Tech in on the stop. He had his first career interception a few weeks back, jarring it up there with Darnell Mooney. And here on 4th and 1, they are going to go for it, despite being at their own 39. Now Montague here. Going to have Mazika, who makes the catch, turns the corner past the 50, and he'll take that ahead for 16. At this point, of course, facing a 4-possession deficit, down 25. You just got to build some confidence here and take that into the next game. And that's not going to do it, as that one sails away, almost intercepted in the hands of Matthew Torrance. Incomplete now, make it 2nd down. The Falcons at the 45. 31-6 here. Our Snowhawks on the verge of extending to 5-0 to start this Year 5 season. Next week, going to take on the Seattle Seahawks. And from the backside there, Grenard gets the quarterback hit, and Montague did not sense that one coming. Now make it 3rd down. Montague from the pocket, plenty of time to throw again. Does have a man streaking towards the sideline, and that's going to be a stop by Terrion Arnold. Going to bring up 4th and 3 at the 38, and you got to think they're just going to go for it again, as they do bring out the I formation this time with the fullback. And we'll see if they go for the run. They will give it for Bijan, and we are going to swallow him up. Not, as I thought Tashawn Gross was going to get the tackle, but you can't arm tackle Bijan, as it looked like we pressed the edge very well there, as Atlanta did counter. But Bijan read that all the way. Good patience and good power, good balance to extend that play for the 1st down. And now Montague here on 1st. Going to try and turn the corner upfield, but will be tracked down by Taylor Goddard, the fellow rookie there, drafted in the 1st round, both out of the SEC, and both are familiar with each other. Goddard winning that battle, and that's going to make it 2nd and 14. Now Goddard now his 3rd sack already in his rookie campaign. Montague on the drop back over the middle of the field, and that will be intercepted by Dale Gilmore, and that was Goddard's former teammate at Tennessee, also a 1st round pick the year before Goddard. And Dale Gilmore, his 1st interception now in his 2nd season. We drafted him 27th overall in the year 3 draft, the 2027 NFL draft, and we expect him to be a good ball hawk, or at least develop into one over the course of this franchise. Going for Darnell Mooney there deep down the field, but Dale Gilmore right there to undercut that and secure that for his 1st interception of the year. And now 31-6, let's wrap this one up. Starting now at the 28-yard line. I'm almost tempted to throw some reserves out there, but we'll give it one more drive. 3 yards for Bigsby, probably just going to take a heavy running approach here. They're on 39. We do get the 1st down, though, through the passing game for Mark Andrews. And now on 3rd and 3 at the 44, we go 13 yards for Carlos Alvarez. 2 yards there from McDonald. Now 2nd and 8, incomplete, make it 3rd and 8. And we get a 28-yard touchdown for Carlos Alvarez. My goodness, we are just pouring it on. That is his 2nd touchdown catch now of the game. Make it 38-6, and the Falcons back out there. 4:22 remaining in this game. I knew we were the heavy favorites in this game, but I did not expect this domination. Now up 32 points. Montague still out there, as he will connect there with Mazika. That one for 5. Now make it 2nd and 5 from the 35. Less than 4 minutes here in this Week 5 matchup. Our Snowhawks on the midst of a 5-0 start. Can't believe we're getting that to that point. And Taylor Goddard again, seek and destroy. The 5th sack of the day for Salt Lake City. Again, tracking down his former opposition there in the SEC. Both of whom did found 1st round pedigree. But Goddard now his 2nd sack. And hopefully that helps the case for Defensive Rookie of the Year. You know, that would definitely help his development. And now 3rd and 19. Our defense is buzzing. And we did throw some reserves out there, most notably Tashawn Gross now in this subset as a linebacker instead of Quay Walker. And now Montague 3rd and a couple miles up the sideline. That'll be knocked down by Terrion Arnold. Tried to pick it off on the 2nd effort, but does knock it down. Now 4th and 19 coming up. And the Falcons are going to go for it, so we'll probably take over here around the 20-yard line. Montague will fire deep down the field. Does have a man, so I stand corrected as he finds Darnell Mooney. That one goes for about 40 plus as they still survive here. I thought our offense was primed with a good opportunity there to add it on even further, but not the case as they get the big 4th down conversion. Now into Salt Lake City territory. Going to just check that down for Mazika as he works that up the sideline for 6. We do hit the 2-minute warning here in Atlanta, and probably to the delight of whatever fans are still here in attendance as Montague takes another hit there. Taylor Goddard definitely getting some trash talk in as that one was incomplete. Now 3rd and 4. Montague from the shotgun. Bijan offset. And see, they will fake it to him. Now Montague, plenty of time to throw again, does roll to the right deep into the end zone, and he does get a touchdown there for Tracy Pryor. So they do get some dignity restored here, some confidence to take into the next game. Of course, this drive was kept alive by that huge conversion on 4th and 20 it was. And we see some magic there from Montague that was supposed to happen a little bit earlier and more so throughout the course of this game. But again, rookie growing pains, and against this Salt Lake City defense that has been the best in the NFL to start the year, definitely not easy for him in this one, but they do get the late touchdown, now 38-13. And we expect the offense to just run it out now as we get Manny Reynolds, hopefully a couple carries here. As now 2nd and 18, a penalty there against the defense, and that is going to do it here in Atlanta. As our Salt Lake City Snowhawks now advance to 5-0, a blowout again here in Week 5, as we're now 5-0. Deshaun Montague, it was nice meeting you, and we hope that we can continue this dominance in the next meeting, although I'm not sure that's going to be the case, as he will at that point have a lot more experience under his belt. And I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in this franchise before too long, despite the poor showing in this one. But our defense continues to dominate. 5 sacks in this one. Randy Fisher got one, the first of his career. Taylor Goddard added a couple. Dale Gilmore an interception. We love to see that as we can, again, win the turnover battle. We're taking care of the ball offensively. We're moving the ball at will in the passing game. And even though our running game hasn't been super consistent, we haven't needed it to be, as McDonald can always affect the game in that aspect as well. 4 touchdowns for him. As we look at the box score, as Montague, not as bad as it seemed. 23 for 38, 227, 60%, a touchdown and interception, and he did take a few sacks, but overall not too shabby for a rookie. McDonald, 24 for 32, 297, 75%, 4 touchdown passes, as he had 5 last week, so he's definitely going to be among the league leaders in that category, as he's already top 5 in passing yards. We held Bijan to just 38 yards. I don't know why they refused to give him the ball. He did have 6.3 per clip. We gave Bigsby 20 carries, and he got 76 yards. McDonald added a touchdown on the ground with 20 rushing yards. Receiving, though, we will just go by team now, and Mark Andrews had a touchdown, 8 for 85. Carlos Alvarez, 6 for 120. I think he's gone over 100 now, 4 out of 5 games. A couple more touchdowns in this one. Dontavion Wicks for 5 for 54, a touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. just 3 for 30, as he has really struggled to get some production going. No sacks allowed in this game, which I think is the first time that has ever happened, although it wasn't slow sim on offense, so I think we maybe chalk it up to that. But leading the defense in tackles was Matthew Torrance with 8, 2 TFLs for Taylor Goddard along with 2 sacks. Randy Fisher, Jonathan Grenard each had a sack, and Kwity Paye and Caleb Patton split one. And Dale Gilmore, the lone interception in this game. 2 pass deflections for Terrion Arnold and Jerry Sexton. 1 for Torrance and Scruggs. And Will Reichert, 1 for 1 on field goals, hit from 47. And just 1 punt from Logan Cook. That is how we like it. And with another great showing there, Lucas McDonald, now his 2nd NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He won it back in Week 1. And after dropping over 300 total yards, 5 touchdowns, wins it again. Going back to Week 3 and Week 2, it was Will Evans there of the Rams. So between Evans and McDonald, they've won 4 out of the 5. Jalen Hurts won it in Week 4. But now going back to Week 5, the NFC, look at that. The NFC Defensive Player of the Week. 2 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries there, and Abraham of the Panthers. That is a pretty nutty stat line. You don't see that very often, so he probably recovered both fumbles he forced and then recovered a couple others. But before we get into Week 6 against the Seattle Seahawks, we do have Mock Draft 1 to kind of unpack and digest here, as the Las Vegas Raiders projected 1st overall pick, as we did project them to have a top 3 pick this year. Definitely, we considered them and the Browns, probably the Titans, as the bottom teams in the NFL this season, but the Raiders are living up to that billing. 0-5 right now. They're projected to go John McPherson, offensive tackle out of Louisville. And we haven't paid too much attention to these top tackles just because we don't really have any realistic shot of getting them. So McPherson there projected number 1 out of Louisville. Nick Freeman, the number 1 overall prospect on the board, I believe, or I think actually 2nd, is projected here 2nd to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as they're also 0-5 there along with the Raiders. So Nick Freeman, the second prospect on the overall board, projected number 2 there to the Buccaneers. And after surrendering 5 sacks, you would think Atlanta looks to upgrade their offensive line. They projected Thomas Falk, offensive tackle out of Boston College. The last time they selected an offensive lineman out of BC, that was Chris Lidstrom, who is still with the team. Virgil Morton projected there, another offensive tackle here. 3 of the first 4 picks projected offensive tackle. Warren out of Ohio State projected to the Titans. A pass rusher here at 5. Brandon Foster out of UW to Chicago. James Trenkle, another pass rusher there out of Texas A&M to the Giants. And the Panthers go Peter Ross out of Central Michigan. When was the last time the Chippewas had a first-round pick here, especially in the top 10? Making now 4 tackles in the top 8. Ben Bell out of Oregon going to Miami. Broderick Foster out of Missouri going to the Jets, another pass rusher. And then rounding out the top 10 are the Green Bay Packers going pass rusher Josh Hurst out of Iowa to Seattle. Projected at 11 going Wyatt Robinson, offensive tackle out of Ole Miss. Then here at number 12 to the Denver Broncos, projected Ramon Starks. And he is one of our higher rated prospects, projected round 1 to 2. So we were hoping we could get him, but here in this mock draft projected in the top 12 picks here to the Denver Broncos. C for block shed, C for finesse move, and he is a power rusher, so looks to have a very refined skill set. That power move probably going to be a B or an A, you would think. And all those athletic categories, at least solid to good besides the agility, but the speed there is good to great. Does have B for play rec, A for tackle. 6'6", 278 here out of Penn State, so looks to be a little bit of a tweener, probably more of an edge guy, but maybe can kick inside as well. Another tackle here at 13 to the Saints. The Eagles projected Kevin Middleton, corner out of Minnesota. Another corner here to the 49ers, and then another corner, make it 3 in a row, as Washington projected Lamar Teal out of BYU. And now here into the second half of the first round, Detroit projected Aaron Weber out of Florida. Another offensive tackle here, Brandon Minor to the Colts. At 19 is CJ Stanley out of Alabama to the Houston Texans. Then rounding at the top 20 is cornerback George Wilford out of USF. Only 1 cornerback taken in the first round last year, and I think 4 at least projected here in the top 20. And at 21, Drew Kavanaugh out of Michigan going to the Patriots. Another corner here, Junior Harris going to Pittsburgh. Ed Stockton, another defensive tackle we really like out of Auburn here, 6'1", 302. Already 50% scattered with B for block shed and power move, C for finesse move and tackle. Only 21 years old, solid to good for speed and strength, but everything else at least good to great. And we have most of his skills already pretty much uncovered with A for play rec, so a pretty complete prospect, already halfway scouted. And he's projected here 23rd to the Chargers. Jonathan Dotson, the first safety off the board out of Oklahoma State to the Browns. Matt Skandrick, an offensive tackle we are kind of eyeing up here towards the end of the first round at 6'8", 339 out of Michigan State. B for run block, good to great for strength, and great to elite for change of direction. B for run block power is all that's uncovered so far, but we probably are going to set our national scouting focus for offensive tackle here in a couple weeks. The Rams projected a pass rusher here out of LSU, Alex Costello. Trey Hurst, another defensive end here from the Penn State Nittany Lions who we're looking at. He's definitely more of an interior guy though, 6'4", 302, a run stopper. Does have C for finesse move, great to elite for strength, and skill-wise has A play rec, B tackle impact, and like we saw, C for finesse move, which is a good starting point for someone who's more of a run stopper. Kevin Costa, pass rusher out of UW, going to the Ravens. A center here, Josh Jackson, projected to Cincinnati. A D tackle here for Buffalo. That's Jeff Blackwell from LSU. And Byron Jennings, another tackle we're looking at towards the end of the first round here. A for awareness to start, 6'4", 324. Only 21 years old out of Alabama. Even though he's a power archetype, which most of the offensive linemen are in this year's class, he's decent athletically, and hopefully he has good pass block finesse traits, as he does come back with a C there, but hopefully the run block finesse is decent to match. So Byron Jennings definitely an option for us, as we're projected to have the 32nd overall pick. Right now we are the Super Bowl favorites, but they are again projecting us to go fullback, Deshaun Fleming out of TCU. And as much as we value the fullback position, I don't think that is going to be the case. But that's mock draft 1. We didn't dig too much into it just because we have a later pick, so not many prospects that were drafted in that mock draft are going to be realistic options for us in this year's draft. But before we get into this game against Seattle, I also wanted to shift our focus to some re-signings, as I did want to kind of focus on this in episode. This is something I would more so focus offline, but now that we're at the point where a lot of these guys are our own drafted prospects, I do want to hone in on them a little bit more. So starting with re-signings, we have Marvin Harrison Jr. He wants 4 years at $103 million, about like 60% interest in rejoining. And at this point, we're no longer being graced with Lucas McDonald's rookie contract, so we have to be a little more frugal in negotiations. But a 4-year contract I think is definitely reasonable for Marvin Harrison Jr. And even around $100 million I think is fair as well. So for this initial offer, we'll just dip it down a little bit. We'll go 4 years, $100 million on the nose. and see if he comes back with that. He does say this is a great deal. I'm just not ready to say yes right now. So maybe something he offers down the line a little bit, which now brings us to Matthew Torrance. He wants 4 years at 47.8, so pretty much 12 million AAV, and he's actually set to miss our Week 6 matchup against the Seahawks. The second game he's going to miss this season, as he's dealing with a nagging ankle injury. But over the course of this franchise, he had 100 tackles going back to year 3, his second season with 3 TFLs, 6 TFLs last year, a sack and a half, only 1 interception over the course of this franchise, but does have 2 forced fumbles in the last 2 seasons, along with 22 pass deflections over the course of this franchise. He's now up to superstar development, and we drafted him 36th overall back in our year 1 draft. So a lot of these guys from our inaugural draft class, including Samuels here, Caleb Patton, but going back to Matthew Torrance, I think 12 million is more than fair. But again, in this initial offer, I think we will try to lower the AAV a little bit. I think we can even go more player friendly, at least on the year. I think we could go 5 years, but let's try and drop the money a little bit if we can, as we are giving him an extra year. So 5 years at 56.5, and we'll see what he says to that. And he says the team isn't right, the money isn't right, something has to improve if I'm going to sign. So he is going to want more money. And now going over here to Caleb Patton, who only wants 3 years at 50 million. And I think he's in line to become a perennial all-pro type of defensive tackle already, 5.5 or 6.5 sacks on this season. So we're going to go all the way up to 5 years for him, I think. We'll just go 8 million salary, 8 million bonus, 5 years at $80 million. And he says we need to convince him more. This team is right for my future. So these guys being a little bit tough to negotiate with right off the bat, which you would expect, which now brings us to Randy Samuels, an 80 overall right guard, part of that inaugural draft class as well. And after all these offers, that still will leave us with about $50 million in cap space. So we are going to have to improve most of them a little bit. But here for Samuels, we'll go 2 years at 12.4. And he says he needs a bigger offer. But I wanted to go through these initial negotiations. We'll just stick with those for now. Those are our main guys we're going to try and bring back. So that's Harrison Jr., Matthew Torrance, Caleb Patton, and also Randy Samuels. So after getting these 4 guys re-signed, that should leave us with about $50 million to work with this upcoming offseason. And just to foreshadow a little bit, we will actually take a little preview at our top options. So we entered this season with 34 players on our wish list who are on expiring contracts, but 30 of them have now gone on to already sign extensions, which has diminished that list down to just 3 players on our watch list. So we will just preview them real quickly here. And our top guy is actually someone who was auto-generated over the course of this franchise, the Baltimore Ravens, with only $3.7 million in cap space. So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to re-sign him or not, maybe on a franchise tag. We'll see about that. But Travis Weldon, one of these superstar X-Factor tight ends, 6'5", 241 out of Texas, 24 years old, 86 overall vertical threat last year, over 1,100 yards as a tight end, which you don't often see in this franchise, I don't think. Over 90 catches as well, 6 touchdowns this season, 374 at 10.4 yards per catch, but no touchdowns on his efforts so far. But a 2-time Pro Bowler, the last selection in the 3rd round, going back to the year 1 offseason after the Ravens won the Super Bowl that year. But Travis Weldon, we will go back to look at his ratings. I think he would be a tremendous piece that we need on offense. We're looking at a tight end this offseason, and it is a very deep tight end draft class, but even still, I think if Weldon hit the free agent market, we would throw a lot his way. 86 speed with 89 catching. The route running is tremendous at 87 short, 81 medium, 77 deep with 95 catch in traffic, 91 spec catch, 86 break tackle. Not going to offer anything as a blocker, although the 67 run block isn't terrible, but still with his dynamic receiving ability, I think you can afford his deficiencies as a blocker. So we'll see what happens here with Travis Weldon, as we did sign Mark Andrews a few years back. He does have 1 year on his contract remaining after this season, so there might be a little bit overlap there, but that would be funny if the Ravens produced our last 2 starting tight ends. Now, going over to the Philadelphia Eagles, they had Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, who they all re-signed last year, but now with negative cap space, actually Jalen Hurts is set to hit his free agency on an expiring contract. That would be absolutely crazy if that ended up being a development here as he enters his low 30s, a 1-time Super Bowl champion with the trajectory of how this franchise has gone. Of course, we outed them last year in the NFC Championship as they were a heavy favorite, but they have Landon Dickerson now on an expiring contract as well. But we're looking at Jordan Mailata, even though he'll be 32 years old next season. We need at the very least a stopgap at left tackle, and he's still one of the best in the game. All those ratings in the high 80s at least, maybe even in the low to mid 90s and an established left tackle on a winning football team, and he could be a great successor to Colton Miller, who's on an expiring contract on our team. I can't imagine Mailata would demand more than like 1 or 2 years now at his age, but Mailata and Travis Weldon are early top 2, and then we'll come over here to the Chiefs, who are actually negative. I'm sorry, they're at 1.8 in cap space, so not much to work with. We see here Patrick Mahomes is going to eat up 60.5 next year and going up to 70 the next season, but only 3 years left on his contract. We'll see how that goes, as he will be 35 at the end of that. But weak defensive class, but Karlaftis, maybe the top pass rusher, going to be on the market. We like he's a power rusher with 94 power moves, 86 strength to 80 speed. We like that combination. The block shed not all there at 76, but I think if we can get him playing next to Taylor Goddard, that'd be a really nice, formidable option for us. To production, a little bit up and down. 6 sacks last year, 10 tackles for loss the year before. Going back to year 1, he had 7 sacks. So we'll see if he hits the market. But like I said, we had a bunch of options on our wish list, but they just dried up so quickly as all those teams were able to snatch them up on a re-signed contract. But free agency is far, far away, as we're still only here in week 6. But our Snowhawks, again, the last remaining undefeated team, as we're at 5-0. You see the numbers there for Lucas McDonald, over 1,400 passing yards, 15 passing touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. Although a tough road environment here in Seattle, you know, the 12th man's always rocking, but our Snowhawks are up for the task. It doesn't matter where we're playing, we're looking for victory. We've won 15 of our last 17 games going back to last regular season, and that does include our playoff stretch. We're here from Lumen Field, and we went 1-1 against the Seahawks last season as we split that series, but both of those matchups went to overtime. We won a critical late season matchup there in week 17, which had big playoff implications. We would go on to win the division and, of course, go on to win the conference as well. The Seahawks trying to spoil our good times as we are now underway here from week 6. Our fourth NFC West matchup. We've already got a half of our games played there. Is a good return out of the gate for Seattle, as they will take over at the 28-yard line. And the quarterback is Byron Snow, the first overall pick going back to the year 2 offseason, which would have been the 2026 NFL draft. Snow out of LSU, 10 touchdowns to just 1 interception to start, over 1,100 passing yards. And I think him, Lucas McDonald, and who we just saw in the last game, Deshaun Montague, I think those might be the top 3 quarterbacks drafted over the course of this franchise. Ben Davis of the Cowboys probably also in the conversation, but starting out with a stacked front, as they'll get for Kenneth Walker. He gets 4. Walker, 63 rushing yards last season. He enters this week 2nd in the league in rushing yards, one of the best backs in the league, as they still have their established group of playmakers to go along with Jackson Smith and Jigba, who finished last NFL season as the 2nd receiver behind Jamar Chase. Also DK Metcalf on this team as well, and a pretty good offensive line there. Underneath that one, incomplete. That one for Rondell Moore. You'd love to see him still here on an NFL team. Now on an early 3rd down for the Seahawks. On the drop back is Snow, as he's rolling to the right, hit by Caleb Patton. And Patton, we definitely have to get him in on a contract extension. I really think he's set for a Pro Bowl season this year, maybe even beyond, as his presence has been felt in a huge way, as he secured our top defensive tackle spot on the depth chart with the departure of Darius Robinson to New England. So our defense forces the early 3 and out, a fair catch at the 24, and Lucas McDonald in the offense out there for the first time, as again we are going to stick to defense in this game. And next episode we'll have a game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and again going to play the Seahawks. So twice in 3 weeks we'll play the Seahawks. In the next episode we'll have offense in that game. But in this one we'll stick to the sim on offense. Hopefully we can keep it going. Carlos Alvarez, 8 yards out of the gate. 12 yards there for Wicks, already a first down, and that's knocked away by Ernest Jones. And an interception by Jimmy Gallery, the first-round pick last year out of Notre Dame, was actually a two-way player for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and won the Heisman Trophy that year. And he gives Seattle tremendous starting field position here at Salt Lake City's 32-yard line. Snow on the drop back here on first down, working to the left, and he'll be brought down, and that's Jonathan Grenard. A huge season for the veteran who signed a 1-year contract to just be more of a stopgap for us at the edge position after we lost Joey Bosa, also Andrew Van Ginkel, as they were a huge production off the edge for us last season. Even Taylor Goddard there, the first-round pick, won his battle eventually, but good hands there by Grenard against Charles Cross, the longtime left tackle for the Seahawks. Now backed up 2nd and 21. That's what we needed after the turnover. And now Snow from the pocket fires and has a hook up there, and that's going to go for a nice gain. And again, I think that was Rondell Moore making it a manageable 3rd and 5 now. Again, Snow rolling to the right, going to step up and throw. And he does have a man, but that's DK Metcalf forced out there by Terrion Arnold, which will bring on a 43-yard field goal attempt. As I think Greg Saban, the kicker here, one miss on the season, 11 for 12 overall. And that one is up, and that one is good. So Seattle cashes in off the interception as they jump ahead early 3-0. And that was actually Younghoe Koo. He's the kicker here for Seattle this season. 5-yard rush there for McDonald on first down. 2-yard pass there for Willis. And on 3rd and 2, we don't get the first down, 4th and inches, so we are going to punt. As Seattle, good starting field position again. Not as good as before, but this time from their own 29. As Byron Snow and the offense right back out there just about 7 minutes into this first quarter, already the third possession for the Seahawks. Again, Byron Snow being chased, and there's a combo of Taylor Goddard getting home. He was definitely there on the first sack. He had 4 already entering this game for the first-round rookie out of Tennessee. He could be in line for Defensive Rookie of the Year, at least in the NFC maybe, but also Ruke Orororo was getting in on the stop as well, as he's really blossomed. And Ruke's last upgrade, he got +6 for finesse move, +4 for power move, as a huge boost there, and that's definitely being seen in this game as second-round rookie Randy Fisher is out in this one, along with Matthew Torrance, our starting strong safety. They're on 2nd and 21. They go for Kenneth Walker, and Quay Walker gets the stop. Now on 3rd and very long here, 3rd and 18, and I don't have much faith in our defense in these 3rd and longs for some reason. As Snow going to fire that down just out of the reach. I think that was Jackson Smith and Jigba, the intended target. And that was Michael Carter II, a more expanded role this season in the absence of Matthew Torrance. As we moved first-round pick, Dakota Michaels back to strong safety, as he's been mainly manning the slot position, but he'll start at strong safety in this one. Great starting field position, starting at the 44, but -3 there on first down and incomplete. So a 3rd and 13, and we get the first down just barely there for Mark Andrews, moving the chains as we desperately needed to keep this drive going. Then 7 yards for Alvarez, and now a 3rd and 3 at the 39. And we get 14 yards for Marvin Harrison Jr. now down to the 25, and another 5 for Harrison Jr., and then incomplete. So a 3rd and 5 now at the 20, and we just get 3 yards for Bigsby. So going to be a 34-yard field goal attempt. As we don't go for the field goal, we go for the conversion, and we fail. Incomplete was Lucas McDonald, so instead of going for the tie, we went for the first down and failed there on 4th down. And now the Seahawks back out on offense, already their 4th possession of this first quarter, as they still lead 3-0. Snow here on first down, and that's going to be knocked down by Terrion Arnold. Already like 6 or 7 pass breakups for Arnold to start this season. Snow now on 2nd down, working to the left, going to fire that to the sideline, and does get that for DK Metcalf. What a throw, working across his body with the rush coming in, and nails, I think that was Metcalf there at the sideline. What a throw there by Byron Snow, showing off that ability. That moves the chains now here on first down over the middle, and that one goes away from his man. 2nd and 10 now, Snow directly under center on the drop back, and again going to be pressured, and again we get home for the sack. That time it's to Sean Gross, the second-year man out of Arizona State, and the pass protection just has not been holding up, but our defense, I think 1st or 2nd in the league entering this affair in sacks, and again we are getting home and setting the pressure early. Kwity Paye also won his battle that time off the edge, and Byron Snow cannot get settled here. In our matchups here, head-to-head between Byron Snow and Lucas McDonald have been split 2-2 aside here. Now Snow on 3rd and very long down the field, and that was knocked down by Dakota Michaels, trying to dip that over the head, but to no avail. And again, going to have to punt deep in their own territory here from the 20-yard line, so luckily nothing comes off that turnover on downs, but you still don't like leaving points on the board. And now on the return here will be Trey Patton, the rookie out of Butler, but really nothing doing, as McDonald and the offense will take over at the 37-yard line. Still no points on the board. We see the receiving yards leaders there among running backs. Tank Bigsby 2nd in the league, and who would have thought that, already over 20 catches to start this Year 5 season, as he's taken his game to a different level. 5 yards for McDonald there on first down. And now starting the second quarter here, we got 10 yards for Andrews, 6 yards for Dontavion Wicks now into Seattle territory, but a penalty there against Andrews. 2nd and 9, 5 yards for Harrison Jr., so 3rd and 4, and we get an 8-yard scramble for McDonald moving the chains. 9 yards for Bigsby on the ground, knocked away by Nicholas Spain, last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year. So 3rd and 1 now at the 20, and we do get the first down for Bigsby. Incomplete on first down. 2nd and 10. We got a 17-yard touchdown pass for Mark Andrews. He's been racking them up here, maybe his 3rd or 4th already, but the extra point is missed. The extra point is no good by Will Reichard. What went wrong there? As instead of being a 4-point lead, it's now just a field goal lead, 6-3. And now Snow and the Seahawks out there for the first time in this second quarter. What is going on here from Seattle? The home crowd definitely playing into it, I'm going to say. And now Snow, a quick one over the middle, and Terrion Arnold forces that one incomplete. And now you see that X factor lighten up there for Arnold. That might be the first time we've had that going for somebody over the course of this franchise. And again, we get home. That's Ororo, his second, or I guess his first sack of the day. I don't know if they gave him credit on that first one, which was probably Taylor Goddard's. But again, getting home on the pressure. You see Taylor Goddard there, ripped down there on the edge, though. But it does not matter that time. Ororo getting home on the interior pressure. And our defense continuing to dominate early on this season. I think still the top defense entering this matchup, as we're facing two of the top young quarterbacks in the game. Snow on the drop back. A quick one as that he does hook up again with Moore, who beats Terrion Arnold that time, but not before stopping them on third down. I forgot it was third down there amidst all the chaos. So we are going to force another punt here as we conserve this 3-point lead. Hopefully our offense can add on to it. That's Townsend, another punt here, maybe his third or fourth of the day already, as Patton will fair catch that at the 22. 6-3 with 10:38 remaining here in this first half. Incomplete on first down. We get 13 yards for Alvarez. Now at the 35, we get 6 yards for Tank Bigsby, another catch for him, and then 9 yards for Marvin Harrison Jr., his third catch of the day so far. But Boye Mafe does get a sack, making it 2nd and 17 and incomplete. So 3rd and very long now, and we only get 5 yards for Rook. So again, going to have to punt, as Logan Cook able to net that one down to the 3-yard line. He pins him back, and he's been phenomenal here his first season as a Snowhawk. So hopefully we can get some points on the board by way of safety, as Snow directly under center here. Probably going to get for Walker, as he does. Nowhere to go, though. He runs right into Caleb Patton and Ruke Ororo, and that's a tackle for loss down to the 2-yard line. And I always feel silly pronouncing his name, but we're rolling with it. That's how you say it. 2nd and 11 now at the 2. Another gift for Walker. And really nothing doing that time. Does get a little bit of space, making it 3rd and 10. Now out in the I formation again. No cushion really to work with. And again, they will give for Walker. And again, he'll be stopped with nowhere to go. That time it's Jerry Sexton getting in on the stop. And 5 carries for only 7 yards so far. Kenneth Walker, again, one of the top backs in the league. 2nd in rushing yards so far, behind only Isaiah Pacheco of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now punting from deep in their own end zone. With just about 5 minutes left in the half, they do get that one off. We did have a blocked punt last year in that Week 17 matchup against the Seahawks, as Patton does get some space that time. Our offense taking over at the 45. Good field position to work with. McDonald 16 for 26, 135, and a touchdown pass so far. Crazy to think he already has so many pass attempts. 6-yard rush there for Willis to start the drive, then 1 yard for Willis. And now on 3rd and 2, incomplete again is McDonald, as he just cannot get into rhythm. And on 4th and 2, a missed field goal there is Will Reichert. So his 3rd miss now of this season, all beyond 50 yards. Also a missed extra point as well. So not a great start to his Snowhawks tenure, as the Seahawks now taking over at the 44. And we do not convert off that drive. So still just a 6-3 lead here, as Snow now rolling to the right. Going to go back across his body and just will throw that one away. This game a lot like the last one, just all defense so far. I think that one ended like 13-10 or something like that. Now Snow, due to the sideline, has Jackson Smith and Jigba as he hauls that one in stride, dropped that one in the bucket. I think that one for 28 yards, as probably the biggest hit so far for the Seahawks through the air. Seattle now down to the 28-yard line as we head towards a 2-minute warning. Snow on the drop back. A quick one there towards the sideline. Just so much authority behind his throws as he connects there with longtime tight end here for the Seahawks, veteran Noah Fant out of Iowa. And now into the final 2:05 here. We'll see if they call another play. They don't have to, but they will do it. And Snow on another drop back. Plenty of time to throw from the pocket. Goes to the sideline there, has again, that's Rondale Moore. Now he's over 50 yards in this first half of play. We do hit the 2-minute warning here from Seattle as they're on the doorstep, only down 3 here. A 6-3 ball game from Lumen Field. 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. Snow directly under center. You got to think they give for Kenneth Walker. Although it is the Seahawks, you know what they can do as they swing that out for Walker. And Quay Walker tracks that one down all the way. A big loss on the play. 2nd and goal now backed up to the 7. Snow on the drop back. Going to step up, try and run. And he will go all the way for the end zone as that ball just crosses the plane. He met Jerry Sexton there, but he does find pay dirt. And the Seahawks find the end zone for the first time in this game. Going to jump ahead 10-6. I'm assuming they just kicked the extra point. So that will do it here as we missed that extra point earlier, missed a field goal as well, so leaving a lot of points on the board. We also missed a 4th down in field goal range, And now on for the extra point are the Seahawks. Are the field goals. Are the Seahawks here as that one is up. And that one is good. So now 10-6 with 1:20 remaining. We'll see if the offense can put together a 2-minute drill. As I was saying, so many points left on the board here, especially got to account for that 4th down that we did not convert on. Now 8 yards there for Carlos Alvarez, as only one more timeout left to work with. And we get 15 yards for Mark Andrews. So we are going to jump into it here and close out the half. Even though it is offense, we're going to see how it goes here because they are really bad, with time management. As now we have no more timeouts left, so at least we'll be able to see how it plays out. Maybe we can get a quick hit there, get out of bounds, and maybe bring on Will Reichert, for better or for worse, for a field goal attempt. So 25 seconds left in the half here at the 41-yard line. 1st and 10. I think we did have a hit here for Mark Andrews on this drive so far. And now McDonald on the drop back. Rolling to the right, and we'll get rid of that. Smart play there. Of course, you don't want to get sacked, have the clock keep ticking. Even a few yards here, I think, might put us in Will Reichert field goal range again from the pocket, and again McDonald will throw it away. And another reason why we do this is because I want to see the halftime report. You have to sim through to the next quarter if you want to catch that. McDonald, a quick hit down field, will just get rid of that one. So probably just gonna end up punting it. Seattle will have a few seconds left to work with as we'll bring on Logan Cook here. Let's see if he can pin him back again here, even though it's not as monumental with not much time left to work with. Probably just more so going for hang time, as that was not really the case. Only a 20-yard net. And Seattle, 10 seconds, all their timeouts. We'll see how aggressive they go. I can't imagine they're going to be taking shots. They do go for Kenneth Walker, and he'll be brought down by Taylor Goddard, as that will do it here in this first half of play. Our Snowhawks uncharacteristically trailing here as we're on the road here against the Seattle Seahawks. 10-6 in a slugfest. These NFC West matchups, always a slugfest, especially against Seattle. I feel like always a low-scoring affair, which means us leaving those points on the board just that much more important. As we'll now take a look around the league at some matchups going on, and we'll start here out west against a division matchup. The San Francisco 49ers, of course, our division matchup, not the Dolphins, as the 49ers up 21-3. The Dolphins have struggled out of the gate, although they did just re-sign Jalen Waddle to a 4-year contract extension. Now here at Minnesota are the Carolina Panthers, and the Vikings, a big win in this one, 31-3, as they're now 4-2, one of the surprise teams out of the gate, as the Panthers, they're just 5 carries for Jahmyr Gibbs, as they won him in free agency, but only 13 yards in that loss. Adrian Kincaid, a rookie quarterback there for the Panthers out of Colorado. And at Los Angeles at the Denver Broncos in the AFC West matchup. The Chargers leading that one 13-7 going into half. A very closely contested AFC West behind the Chiefs this year. But back to this one, the NFC West always closely contested. Entering this matchup, every team at 500 or better. The only team in the NFC to have that stat. But Byron Snow is starting to get going a little bit, which we don't want. As I said, just so much power behind his throws, so much arm strength on display, and he moves around the pocket extremely well. Reminds me of like an Andrew Luck. I think that's a pretty good comparison, actually. So we are going to start on offense to start this second half, a chance to take the lead back. 6 yards there for Harrison Jr. out of the gate, 6 yards on the ground for Bigsby. So we do get a first down, then a penalty there against Ernest Jones. Now up to the 46-yard line. We get a 5-yard rush from Marvin Harrison Jr., and then 6 yards for Carlos Alvarez down to the 35. 14 yards for Dontavion Wicks, now moving the ball pretty well. 21-yard touchdown for Carlos Alvarez. He just keeps racking them up. And then on the extra point is good there from Will Reichert. So a 13-10 lead now, just under 5 minutes into this second half. As now Seattle back out there here for the first time in this third quarter. Just trailing 3-0, although we are outgaining them by quite a bit to this point. They are going to fake it there for Walker. Ruke Orororo on the pressure along with Caleb Patton, but nothing doing downfield. Snow has to get rid of it. Just one interception on the season for Snow so far. Let's try and double that up. As Snow again will have to get rid of it. No third down conversions so far for the Seahawks. Our third down defense has been phenomenal so far this season. Snow that time, and I just jinxed it for DK Metcalf. Breaks the arm tackle and going to go ahead much further down the field all the way to the end zone as DK Metcalf for 70 yards, and the announcer jinx on full display that time. I knew I should have kept my mouth quiet, but DK Metcalf heard me talking, and he had an answer for that as the Seahawks here out of the gate here in the third quarter retake the lead. And Nathan Scruggs just being dragged that time. DK Metcalf is too big, too strong, too powerful, too fast. As he finishes that one, 70 yards for the house call. Our defense hasn't given up many big hits like that, but DK Metcalf, on like a quick slant like that can bring it all the way to the house. Kind of reminds me of like an Odell Beckham type of play. Now on 3rd and 5, we do convert there. 12 yards for Harrison Jr., his best game so far in this Year 5 season. On 2nd and 7, we get 5 yards on the ground for McDonald. So now a 3rd and 2 at Seattle's 42. And we get 24 yards for Carlos Alvarez down to the 22-yard line. Our offense coming alive here. 10 yards for Wicks. Now down to the 12. 10 yards for Tank Bigsby again through the air. And now a 1st and goal at the 2. And we get a 2-yard rush there for Tank Bigsby. And we retake the lead again, now going back and forth, make it 20-17. 4:48 left here in the 3rd quarter. A great game here from Lumen Field, and this definitely has that playoff division vibe as the Seahawks trying to get back there. They were one of the wild card teams last season over the middle, and that's a hit for Fant, but Quay Walker a bigger hit as he makes Fant, do a little tabletop that time, and you're definitely not going to hang on through that contact. And now make it 2nd and 10. Seattle here at the 30, 4:45 left in the 3rd. Snow again over the middle, and that's a one-handed snag by Jackson Smith and Jigba. Just inhaled that into the body. But again, Quay Walker, a quick reaction despite the catch, though. 3rd and 5 at the 35 now. Snow from the shotgun, Walker to his left. Walker is swinging out there towards the sideline, but over the middle is where Snow goes. And again, he has Rondell Moore for the 1st down. Now up to the 45-yard line. Snow again, a quick one, that one incomplete. 2nd down, Snow takes the snap. Backtracking and going to throw that one away. Now a big play here on 3rd and 10 for the Snowhawks defense. Snow again from the pocket, going to get hit there from Ruke Orororo. He's been tremendous on the interior here, an expanded role in the absence of Randy Fisher. The injury to our rookie out of UCLA has thrusted Ruke into an expanded role, and he's had a bunch of pressures already as we are able to finally force the punt there from Seattle. And now a 3-point lead. Let's see if we can build on it. Incomplete on 1st down. 5 yards for Bigsby, now a 3rd and 5. And we get the completion there for Marvin Harrison Jr. Another conversion. Make it 9 yards there for Alvarez now. 4 yards for Bigsby, gets the 1st down. 4 yards for Bigsby through the air. Another catch for him now. 2nd and 6 to start the 4th quarter. And we go back 2. So now on 3rd and 8, can we convert? And we do get 10 yards for Dontavion Wicks. We're just moving the ball now. 11 yards for Andrews down to the 32. -2 there from Vince Willis, though. We get 8 yards for Alvarez on 2nd and 12. So on 3rd and 4, we do get the conversion. 5 yards for Bigsby. And we continue like our 4th 1st down probably on this drive. And we get another one there, 10 yards on the pass from Tank Bigsby, like his 5th catch maybe of the game. And he gets the touchdown, his 2nd on the ground, as we now make it a 2-possession lead. And our offense has answered the call here late. We definitely needed it. Giving up 17 points here in a division game. May not always get it done, but now a 10-point lead. The Seahawks with their back against the wall. 9:16 left in the 4th quarter. Snow here for his 1st drop back. Plenty of time, and will step up and run as he can do. Not what he's known for, but he can get it done as he slides ahead for the 1st down. If you're Salt Lake City, you definitely can't let Snow and the Seahawks get any momentum back, especially by way of a touchdown drive. I think even if you limit them to a field goal, that's a big win, as there Noah Fant able to hang on through the big hit from Michael Carter. And now on 2nd and 4. Nearing midfield are the Seahawks. Snow takes the snap. Going to go down the field there for Noah Fant, and again drops that in the bucket. Dakota Michaels and Terrion Arnold in on the coverage, but not good enough as Noah Fant, a crafty veteran, able to get open down the field. Another big hit there going towards the sideline. And now Snow directly under center making an adjustment. Already showing some veteran savvy in his 3rd year. A quick drop back and able to complete that to the sideline, gets 6 yards. Again, directly under center here on 2nd and 4, less than 7 minutes now left in the game. On the drop back over the middle, and that one at the feet of Fant, incomplete. 3rd and 4 now at the 21. Again, on the drop back, just a 4-man rush, and just have a 1st down on the out route there to Noah Fant. Now 1st and goal at the 9. Snow showing great command here, and like I said, I'm giving him that Andrew Luck comparison. Let me know what you think on that. 1st and goal here, stacking the backfield. And they do get for Kenneth Walker, and he'll be stopped there. Really nothing doing for Kenneth Walker. And that was Dakota Michaels, the rookie out of Texas Tech, sifting through the traffic and getting the tackle for loss, or at least the tackle at the line. And now 2nd and goal as they're out there empty this time. Snow, 4-man rush to Salt Lake City, has a man over the middle. That's Noah Fant. A gang tackle will bring him down to make it 3rd and goal now at the 3. Now 5:05 remaining. Snow here on 3rd down from the pocket, going to step up and run, but won't get any further than the pocket because Caleb Patton there to meet him and rocking him like a baby for the sack. And Patton among the league leaders in sacks, and again, we do have to lock him up long term, and that is going to force a field goal attempt now from the right hash here. Just a 23-yard chip shot for Younghoe Koo to make it a 1-possession game. That one is up, and that one is good, and kind of surprising to see them opt for the field goal here. So close, but I guess I do understand. But now if Salt Lake City can string together some first downs, that might be the ball game. Just 4:27 remaining, 27-20 here from Seattle. And we'll get a look at this return. There's Dre Patton, the rookie out of Butler, getting that to the 26. Now with 4:23 remaining, let's see if the offense can burn this clock. 6 yards for Bigsby, incomplete there, so 3rd and 4. And we do get the conversion thanks to a penalty again there from Ernest Jones IV, veteran linebacker from Seattle. And then we get 16 yards for Andrews, so burning the clock here as we are into Seattle territory. 5 yards on the ground as we are now post 2-minute warning, and the Seahawks are going to have to start burning some timeouts. We get another first down, so that might all but do it here. And Seattle just no timeouts now left on a 3rd and 4 at the 30. And we do not get the first down, but that does it here from Seattle as our Snowhawks come out 27-20 victorious here, and we advance to 6-0, now make it 16 wins in our last 18 games. We're now 4-0 in the division, and next episode we'll get our offense against the Seattle defense, but for now, we are going to enjoy this. Our defense, we got to say, we're probably the top in the league right now, even though we haven't really been forcing many turnovers. We haven't had, I guess, as many snaps as other defenses just because we force so many 3-and-outs, we force so many punts that the opportunities to force turnovers aren't as evident as it might be for other teams. But our pass rush has been among the best in the league with Taylor Goddard, Jonathan Grenard, Ruke Orororo on the interior, along with Caleb Patton, have been forces for us. DK Metcalf had that huge touchdown earlier, but not enough as Lucas McDonald clearly outduels Byron Snow for maybe the first time in this series, as he's now 3-2 in the head-to-head. He goes 36 for 53, tying a career high there for pass attempts with 352 passing, completed 77%, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, whereas Byron Snow is 15 for 30, 238, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, still just 1 on the season for him, as he's definitely taking care of the football. Tank Bigsby 18 for 70, 2 touchdowns. McDonald had 29 rushing, and Vince Willis again was really not that efficient toting the rock receiving, though. Alvarez again breaks 100 yards for the 5th time out of 6 games. 9 catches, a touchdown. Mark Andrews 7 for 93, a touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. 7 for 58. Dontavion Wicks 7 for 62. And Tank Bigsby 5 catches for 33 yards. His production out on that facet of the game has been off the charts. And only 5 tackles here. Leading the way was Arnold and Sexton. Tackles for loss, 3 for Ruke Orororo, a sack and a half for him. Caleb Patton, 2 TFLs with a sack. Grenard also had a sack, and then a few guys with a half sack here was Kwity Paye, Tashawn Gross, and Taylor Goddard. No interceptions. Will Reichard missed his only field goal, also had an extra point miss as well. And Logan Cook had that great punt as he pinned them inside the 5 at one point. But this is where I'm going to leave you folks. Thank you so much for watching. What a great episode it was, as we're now 6-0 on this Year 5 season. Tremendous results so far, as we are, not far from already clinching a playoff spot, it seems, as we're still far and away the best team, at least record-wise. No other team in the league this season made it past 4-0, and here we are sitting at 6-0, set for an offensive episode next time out, as we're going to start with the Philadelphia Eagles, and then again have a matchup against the Seattle Seahawks, but that time will be home on Snowhawks Stadium turf. The Eagles are going to enter that one at 4-2 after starting the year at 0-2, so they've won their last 4 games, and they did enter the season as the Super Bowl favorites, as they went 16-1 in the previous 2 seasons leading up to this season, despite as many postseason losses as regular season losses in that span. But as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.